All right, let's get started. We're going to come down to our seat on the mat and take your time. We're going to come down to laying completely straight on the ground. If you want to keep your knees bent, you can, or you can extend them out. But just come down into a lying position in a safe way, in a gentle way, laying your back body down on the ground, vertebrae by vertebrae, and just feel completely supported from the ground beneath you. If you want to just take a few concentrated breaths here, you can. Allowing for the breath to come through the nostrils, down through the neck, the chest, the belly. And on the exhale, releasing back through the same path until the air leaves through either the nostrils or through the mouth. Your hands can be loose. If your fingertips are crunched together for any reason, open up the hand. Adjust the shoulders so that the shoulder blades are completely supported from the ground beneath you. Feel the full length of the body from the crown of the head to the feet. And for the next 10 breath cycles, just begin to connect, preparing yourself for the practice to come. If you like, you can take hands and place them on your heart and your belly. And continue to breathe. Take one more breath. Embrace your hands back to the ground if they're not there already. And begin to lift up your legs, first tabletopping them and then bringing the knees to the chest. Wrapping your arms around the knee body. And maybe just rolling back and forth. Rocking ever so slightly to the left and to the right. Just pause there for a moment and maybe even squeeze the knees a little bit closer towards the nose. And then exhale, dropping your left leg down. Keep your right arm up. Keep your right knee up and bent. Bring it a little bit closer into your right armpit. Fingers stay cuffed around the top of the leg. And start to just rotate that knee around in a circular position. We match the breath with the movement as you inhale and exhale. Allow the rotation to be fluid. Find a rhythm and then reverse. Also rotate the ankle, loosening up the ankle. Breathing in and out. And then while we're here, we're going to take the leg up. We're going to bring our fingers behind the back of the hamstrings, so behind the thigh, and just keep the knees soft, but try to press the foot up towards the ceiling. And then just pull back with the hands just to get a little stretch on the leg. Keep the foot flexed, and then slowly bend the knee, bring it back in towards the chest, in towards the armpit, and then press that right foot down. We're going to take our left knee and bring it up now. Bring it towards the left armpit. Your knee towards the arm bent. And just breathe for a few moments, wrapping your fingers, interlacing those fingers on the top of the leg. And you can start to just rotate when you're ready, using the breath as a guide to start to rotate the leg around. First to the left and then to the right. And you're just opening up that hip. Using the breath, you're matching the breath with the movement. Make sure you do the other side. Notice the rhythm that you're developing. And then come to the ankle and rotate the ankle around. Beautiful. And we're going to do the same lift on the left side. You can keep the knee flexed. So keep the knee soft, keep the foot flexed. Keep the fingers interlaced behind the thigh, and then just press the foot up towards the ceiling. And then gently bring the knee back in towards the chest, and then lower the leg all the way down. With the feet pointed out, take the hands above the head and stretch out the full body. Maybe even butterfly the fingertips, taking your right and your left hand and the thumb and just interlacing the thumbs, pressing the hands up behind the head. And at the same time, you can flex the foot or you can point the toes. Your choice to stretch the full length of the body. And one more breath. And then exhale. The hands come by the sides. We're going to take the feet now. We're going to press the feet into the mat, just bending the knees. Okay, so get yourself in a comfortable position. And start to just take a few breaths as we begin to feel this transition in our bodies. Lifting the knees up, placing the feet on the mat, noticing the way this impacts our belly and the breath. Beautiful. And we're going to take our left foot, so wiggle your left foot. Okay, and you're going to place that left foot on top of the right thigh. And just stay there for a moment. And take your left hand and your right hand and just place it, your left hand on the top of the knee, the right hand on the side of the left foot. Okay, and you're just going to press that left leg down a little bit so you get a little bit of space in that hip body. Pause and breathe. And then on your next inhale, you're going to take your foot on your right side and you're going to lift it up. And you're going to interlace your hands and they're going to come behind the left thigh, the right thigh. Okay, and there's this hole in between your legs. So you're taking your left hand and it's weaving in between that hole. The right hand is on the outside of the right leg. Breathe in and breathe out. A few more breaths. One more, and then undo the hands, interlace the fingers, bring the right foot down to the mat. Take your left foot Bring it back down to the mat as well. And then we're going to take our hips just to transition. Okay, so we're going to come up into bridge pose before we go on to the other side. Pressing the hips up, squeezing the glutes, keeping the arms down on the mat, keeping the head on the mat, and then gently lower down vertebrae by vertebrae. And we're going to take our right toes, wiggle the right toes, then take the right foot and place it on top of the left thigh. Take the hands. Right hand is going to go to the outside of the right leg. The left hand is going to come to the inside of the right foot and just press it away. Just when you press away, you can press away with your fingertips to get the fullest length and stretch away from the hip. So you open up that hip body, opening up that joint gently. And be sure you're breathing. Now you're going to interlace your fingers through. Once you weave through the hole, right hand goes through the hole, left hand is at the outside. Interlace the fingers behind the thigh and just keep the foot where it was and just pull up on that foot so that you're tabletopping the left foot. Inhaling and exhaling. Gently we place the foot back down on the mat. And then bring your right foot down to meet your left. Just the body. We're going to press the hips up. Come into bridge pose. And take about 2 or 3 breaths as you keep the belly strong. Keep the glutes active. Allow the thighs to be engaged. And then vertebrae by vertebrae, bring the back body back down to the mat. On the next inhale, I want you to wiggle your right toes, just so we know we're going to the right side. So wiggle your right toes. And bring your right feet, make sure your right feet are back down on the mat. I was just doing that so you know where you are. And start to just take your hips and push them over towards the right side. Okay? Then you're going to lift up and tabletop the feet. And you're going to drop your legs over to the left side. So what we do is we start to lift up on that right hip first to get ourselves in position. And then when we come down, we're gentle. Our back body is twisting. You want to bring your arms straight across the full length of the shoulders you can. And if you like, you can even look over the right shoulder. So your legs have fallen over to the left side, but you're looking over your right shoulder. Nice spinal twist. No need to rush. We're going to slowly start to come out of this. Pressing your hands onto the ground for support. Squeeze the core and then bring the knees back in towards the chest. Bring the knees up towards the heart and hug yourself before going on to the other side. We want to prepare the body again. Bring the feet back down to the ground. Knees are bent. It's time wiggle the left toes just so we know we're on our left side. Bring the feet back down to the ground. And then take the left hip and press the left hip over towards the left side. We're going to lift up and tabletop the legs. And then go ahead and allow the legs to twist over towards the right. You can stretch out your arms to shoulder's length and look over the left arm. So the right legs have dropped over towards the right side, the left arm is what you're looking over. Continue to breathe. Prepare to come out of the twist by pressing your hands into the ground. Bring the knees back up towards the chest. Hug the knees. And you can just kind of roll back and forth once or twice. And then place the feet back down onto the ground. We're going to do one more spinal twist on each side, but this time it's going to be a bit different. All right. So we're already kind of in that groove. What we're going to do is we're going to bring up our right knee. Keep the left leg down. So it's only the right knee that comes up. We're interlacing those fingers. And then when you're ready, you can drop the left leg straight. Take your left fingertips and just guide your right leg down towards the left side. Your right arm is straight behind you, and you're going to look over towards the right fingertips. Now, your leg does not have to touch the ground. If your foot is up, that's fine. Just make sure that you're in a comfortable position. And gently breathe through it. Be very intentional with the breath. Two more breaths. Squeeze the core, lift up the leg, come back to center. Bring both knees back up to the chest. You're going to take your fingertips and you're going to place it around the left leg this time. And you're going to drop the right leg down to the mat. And breathe in and out. And on the next exhale, you're going to cross that left leg over towards the right side, twisting the neck, twisting the back body. And then your left hand is going to be straight, and you're going to look over those left fingertips. Nothing to do and nowhere to go but to breathe. Allow your body to expand with the breath. Come back up to center by pressing your left hand into the ground more for support. And then roll out of it and bring both of your knees towards your chest. And we're going to start to rock back and forth, but we're going to go in an upwards motion as we start to rock up and back. And see if you can rock all the way up to sitting. If not, you can just kind of roll over to your left or your right side, and you can come up into a seated position. All right, and we're going to bring both our feet together into bound angle pose. I like to also call it butterfly because I feel like your legs and your knees can kind of flap. Take your hands and you can wrap them around the toes. So your hands come around, and you can slowly start to just press the chest forward. Inhale and exhale as you feel the strength and as you feel the length in your inner thighs lengthen. Now, mind you, if you're a little bit less flexible, it might look like this. If you're a little more flexible, your legs might be completely down on the ground. So just kind of go to your boundary, maybe a mild to moderate stretch. You don't want to ever really go on the severe line. You want to kind of always avoid that. Slowly come up, bringing the belly, the chest, and the head, and then bring the hands behind you. Take the gaze up. Allow the chest to be positioned so that it shines bright towards the sky, so to speak. And then bring your hands back around. You're going to take your right foot, and your right foot is going to come onto the ground. Your left foot is going to go underneath. It's going to go underneath that hole, and you're going to bring the left foot over towards the right sits bone, and then cross the right foot on top of the over the knee. So you don't have to get it over. If for some reason you just can't get the hook over, that's fine. But just try and see what happens. And you can do the same thing and modify it if you need to by keeping the foot here. Okay, so just go through the same motions as we do. Sit up a little bit taller in the seat, and you're going to take your left arm, and you're just going to wrap it around the top of that right leg. And then your right hand is going to come behind you, behind your seat for support. Okay? And you're going to look over that right shoulder. If you look down right now, you should be able to see your left foot right underneath your sits bone. That's how you know you're in the right position. Inhale and exhale. Now, because you're in a twisted position, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to breathe. Look over that shoulder a little bit more. And just hold the pose for about 5 breath cycles, just as you need to. Two more breath cycles. And then we're going to unwind. Come out of that pose. Bring your feet back into bound angle. Sit up nice and tall at the seat and come forward, pressing the belly towards the toes, pressing the chest in line with the belly. So the chest is coming forward, it's pivoting, but it's not leading. It's not hunching us forward. It's our belly leading us forward. And that's where you're going to feel the stretch mostly in your lower legs. Gently, we're going to come back up. Now you're going to take your left foot, and your left foot is going to be the foot that is leading. So it's going to be bent. You're going to take your right foot now, and you're going to bring it over towards the left sits bone. Again, find your comfortable place. I'm going to bring my foot over because that's where we want to eventually get to. And then we're going to take our right arm, and we're going to just gently hug that knee. Take our left hand, bring it behind us, and place it on to the floor. Look over the left shoulder, just like we did on the right side. And I'll twist around just so you can see me. And again, this is a place where breath can get caught into the different parts of the body, but so you want to sit up a little bit taller in your seat. Then look over that shoulder. 5 more breaths. Last breath. You're going to unwind out of the pose. Come back to bound angle. Press the feet together. Sit up a little bit taller. And press the belly forward. And you should be starting to feel a little bit more of an opening in your thighs and your hip body. Slowly we're going to come up. This time we're going to take our, we'll say our left foot. We're going to stretch out our left foot down in front of us, flexing the foot. Toes should wave hello. You're going to take your right leg and you're going to bring it on top of the left thigh. Knee is bent. And your right foot is hanging over towards the left side. So we're crossing again our legs over to the other side of the body. So our right foot is now to the left side. Our left leg is straight. We want to sit up nice and tall in our bellies, lifting up through the rib cage into the heart. And then gently we're going to start to come forward just like we did in that transition with bound angle, where we start to just bring the chest forward, pressing the belly forward. We're pivoting forward. Our fingertips are just hugged around the knee. And we're just starting to come forward. And then we find our place. And you should be feeling a nice stretch on the hamstring. Again, a mild to moderate stretch. Nothing that should be painful. Another 5 breaths. Remember, belly is pressing towards the thighs. And breath is fluid. We're not holding the breath. Last breath. And gently rise back up with the upper body. Bring both the feet back to bound angle. Sit up tall once again in that same posture. You see that we're redoing that same posture. We're pressing from the belly and coming forward. And little by little, we're getting more and more space because we're leading from the belly. We're pivoting the belly down first towards the thighs. My head isn't even down. My head is still up because I don't need that part of the body to be active in order to get the stretch in my thighs. So keep that in mind. What parts and muscles do you need to use in order to get the stretch in your inner thigh body and your hip body? Slowly come back up. And then we're going to do the other side, right? So we want to stretch out the right leg. The right foot is waving hello, right? The foot is flexed. We're going to take the left leg now, and the left leg is going to cross over so that the knee is bent and it's resting on top of the right thigh. And now our left leg, and our left foot, I should say, is on the right side. Lifting up through the pelvic bowl body. Belly is going to start to press towards the front, right? So it's belly and then chest. You're feeling the stretch, a mild to moderate stretch in the hamstrings on the right side. And this is a breath by breath experience. Take about another 5 breath cycles. We're going to gently rise back up, unwind the legs, come back into bound angle. Press the feet together. We're going to sit up nice and tall and just start to press a little bit deeper and use the breath to help you relax. One breath at a time. We're going to rise back up. And we're going to come into our feet cross-legged, right? So we're sitting in lotus. Allow for your belly again to lift up through. So we're lifting through this pelvic bowl area, rib cages up and aligned. You want to think of a nice straight alignment through your back body, through your heart, up, down through your shoulders. And you can have your hands on top of your knees, or you can bring them behind you, wherever you feel most comfortable. We're going to drop the chin to the chest. But the rest of our body is still nice and straight, so only the chin tucks into the chest. And then we're going to roll our right ear towards our right shoulder, and we're just going to stay there for a moment. And breathe in and breathe out. And then bring our chin back into the center chest. And then roll our left ear towards our left shoulder. Bring the chin back into the center chest. Right ear towards the right shoulder. And you're going to take your left hands and you're going to walk them away. So your fingertips on your left hand are going to walk towards the left part of the mat, but you're going to keep your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then walk them back towards the body. Drop the chin back to the chest. And then left ear towards the left shoulder. And then take your right fingertips and walk them away from your body. Again, you're going to keep the stretch on the neck. Keep the left ear towards the left shoulder. And then walk the hands back. Drop the chin to the chest. Take the fingertips, both hands, come up, and then just place them on the top of the head. And take a few breaths in and out. Still keeping the back all the way from the sacrum, the lowest part of the back body, all the way up to the top of the neck. And that's where you start to feel the pivot down. Hands come back down by the side. And we're going to just do a few head rolls. It's really important that we just roll out the neck body. Match the breath with the movement. To the left and to the right we go. If you want to do a full 360-degree head roll, you can. But just be gentle. Awesome. I'm going to take the arms, lift them out, extend them all the way to the full length of the room. So your left fingertips are touching the left side, and your right fingertips are hypothetically touching the right side of the walls. Roll the shoulders up by the ears and then roll back. Inhale, shoulders up by the ears and then back. 2 more. And 1 more. And then let's go the other way. 4 times in all. This time the shoulders come up, but then they come forward. Inhaling and exhaling. And then bring your hands down by the side and just shake it out a little bit. All right, we're going to do eagle, and then we're going to do a seated forward fold, and then we're going to start to come into our next position, which is tabletop, and do our positions from tabletop. All right, so we're going to extend our arms back out again. I want you to wiggle your right fingertips and bring those right fingertips down in front of you, arm extended. Take your left arm and you're going to cross it on top, and then you're just going to bend the hands together, bend the arms together, and bring the hands together if you can for eagle pose. If you can't do this, just come into a hug position and just hug yourself, but make sure that you keep your elbows off of the chest, regardless if it's the modified or if it's eagle. Inhale and exhale. Remember, you still can hold on to a hug if you can't get into eagle, which is a binding pose. So it might be a little difficult, and that's okay. And if you practice daily, eventually you'll be able to get to it. Two more breaths. And unwind the arms. Extend the arms out. And then shake it out. All right, we're going to extend the arms back out once again. This time, wiggle the left fingertips. Bring the left hand down in front of us. Take our right arm, and then we're just going to go on top this time. So we're doing the other side. And you can come into your eagle, or you can come into your hug position. It's your choice. Either way, keep the elbows up so that they're not resting on the chest. Two more breaths. Last one, extend the arms out. And this time just kind of draw them back and forth like they're wings flapping. All right. Last thing we're going to do in this seated pose for right now in this set is we're going to extend the legs out in front of us. All right. So the knees are soft. We don't have to have them straight down on the ground. We can have a little bit of softness in the joint. We're going to lift up reach up overhead, and we're going to drop the hands down. If we can touch the toes, great, but if we can't, because understandably there's just different levels of flexibility for everybody. And your hands can go on the top of the shins, they can come down to the ankles. So if you can't touch the toes, don't feel discouraged. It's a process. After you take a few breaths, you'll also start to notice that the joint on the knee body starts to loosen a little bit more, and you can actually start to drop the legs a little bit closer to the ground. Find your sweet spot. Again, lead with the belly, bringing the belly towards the thighs first. Then you can really relax the chest. Allow the belly to always do the leading for you. Let the chin tuck into the chest. No need for it to work right now. Inhale and exhale. 2 more breaths. 1 more. And slowly we're going to come back up. And bring the arms up overhead. Bring the hands to the side. And come up into a tabletop position. We're going to squeeze the core. Allow for ourselves to feel completely supported from the floor beneath us. Allow the weight to fall into the wrist, and from the wrist into the hands, where the knuckle of the palm is. So get your hands comfortable. We're going to begin with a few motions from left to right with our hip body. So we want to start to just take our hips and bring them over towards the right side and look over the right shoulder. You want to almost see your hip behind you. Then you want to rotate and then come to your left and look over the left side. Come back to the right. And then to the left. And we'll come back to center. Tuck the toes under. Take the chin to the chest. Press your hands more into the mat. And you're in a scared cat position. Slowly let the belly come and sink down towards the mat. Drop the head back, look up, gaze up. The next exhale, tuck back in. Belly sinks. Navel tucks in towards the spine. The back body dome shapes and rises towards the ceiling. On the next exhale, release and let go. The head comes up. The belly caves in. It's like it's touching the floor beneath you. And this is our cow pose. And just do about 4 more of these. Make them your own. Feeling completely aligned. Completely supported through each breath. No need to go fast. No need to force. And then come back to center. We're going to either close the legs or open the legs as we prepare for child's pose. So find the place of your legs that makes you most comfortable. You're going to sit your hips down towards your heels and bring your head down to the mat. And let your hands just relax and maybe even rotate the wrist a few times. Two more breaths. Slowly come back up. Rise back up. We're going to wiggle our right toes and bring our right leg behind us straight. press away so much so that it's just like you're pressing into the wall behind you. Keep the thigh twisted inward just a little bit. It's going to want to kind of go left or right. You want to have it straight as possible. Take your left hand and extend it out in front of you. And just stay there for a moment. Bring your left hand back down, but keep your right foot up. And then take your right foot behind you. And you're going to cross it over towards the left side. You're going to feel this nice press of your hip still pressing towards the right. And you're going to have this nice stretch. And just breathe. We're going to lift up on that leg, come back to center, press the foot behind us, bring the knee back to center, and come back down into a child's pose. Make this one breath, one movement. Just enough time to loosen your wrist and come back up to your tabletop position. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to take our left foot, so wiggle your left toes and then press your left foot up behind you. Like you're pressing on the wall. Continue to lean your upper body forward and just pause here for a moment. Let your back body and your belly body become strong and engaged. You're going to take your right hand. You're going to stretch it out towards the front while your left foot is behind you. And you're going to feel this nice strength come from your belly as you are in this balancing pose. Bring your right hand back down to the mat. Take your left foot, and this time you're going to cross your left foot over towards your right side, but you're going to keep pressing your left hip towards the left. You should feel a nice stretch in the hip body. If you were to look over your right shoulder, you'd see your left foot, and that's how you know you're in the right position. Two more breaths. And then come back up. Bring the knee back down to the mat. Sit your hips to your heels. Child's pose, one breath, one movement. Rise back up. Tabletop position. Beautiful. We're going to start to go up now. And we're going to transition into a downward facing dog. So tuck your toes under, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Press your hands into the ground. Allow for your chest to press and your belly to press towards the thighs. But still continue to press your hands into the mat. It's almost like you're ripping your mat in half. Shake your head yes and no for the first downward dog of the day. You can actually even walk the hips out by just lifting the heels up and down. Wiggling your tail, so to speak. Opening up the body. Your next inhale, you're going to take your right foot, allow it to rise up, peel open from the pelvis. You can just kind of wiggle the foot, and then bring the foot back down to the mat. And do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take the left foot, lift it up, and then peel open from the pelvis, rotating that foot around in a circle, opening up the hip. Come back down, bringing your foot back down to the mat, and get repositioned in your downward dog. Slowly, we're going to lean forward, come into an upper push-up plank. If you want to come down to your knees, you can, and you can stay like this for every time we go through a similar position. But for right now, if it's in your practice to do a plank, you can do so with your legs extended straight. Inhale and breathe in. Slowly start to lower down. bringing the belly down towards the floor, extending the legs out behind you, bringing your hands up in front of you, keeping your shoulders close by as you come into cobra position, anchoring your thighs down onto the mat, rotating them inward, pressing your toes so straight that the tops of your feet are supported from the ground. And you can feel the ground on top of them, from the tips of the toes all the way up. And then gently come back down, bringing the hands once again by the sides and pushing back up into tabletop position. We're going to tuck the toes under, come back up into a downward facing dog. Should feel completely different this time. And then take your gaze and look up and walk or step both your feet towards the front of the mat and towards your hands. And just hang around here and allow yourself to be. If you want to reach for opposite elbows, you can. Or take your hands behind your legs, you can do that as well. Shake your head yes and no if it's in your practice. A few more breaths, just find that spot for your hands. No need to rush. Slowly, we're going to start to lift up to a half lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, we're going to rise up vertebrae by vertebrae. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then roll the shoulders back away from the ears. Come into a standing pose. You're in a standing mountain pose. You can flip your hands forward. Close the eyes, relax the shoulders. Keep the legs soft. Keep the feet about hips width apart. Slowly, arms are going to rise up, reach up overhead, and you can just come into what's like a seated position, starting to sit downwards. You don't have to come very far, but you do want to lift up out the pelvic bowl. You want your hands to be parallel to one another. Inhale and breathe in, and on the exhale, sit just a little bit lower. It's like somebody's taking a chair out from behind you. And then slowly rise up, reach up, look up. If you like to back bend, you can. Then come, bring the hands back down into mountain pose. And just pause for a moment. We're going to come down again into another chair. So we're going to inhale, lift our arms up, roll the shoulders away from the ears, sit a little bit lower into our pose. Imagine that you have a block in between your legs and you can hold that block up. Then lift through your shoulder blades. Look up, gaze up, and your hands should be parallel to one another. Feel the strength inside of your legs. And then come back up. Hands come down by the side. Breathe in and out and come back into mountain pose. We're going to do one more, but we're going to actually end up twisting it this time. So bring your legs together and make one long leg of energy. We're going to come up, come into our chair pose with our legs closed. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Bring your hands to heart center. Go as far as you can in your seated position. Now, there's going to be a modification I'm going to offer after showing this part. Take your right elbow, wiggle your right elbow. You're going to bring your right elbow towards the outside of your left leg. and look up. Now, if that's not in your practice, what we can do is we can modify by just taking our right hand, place it on the outside of the left leg, and taking the left hand and lifting it up. Eventually, you'll be able to get over with the full elbow. Come back to center. Don't do anything. Don't come out the pose. Just stay in center. Squeeze the core. Take your left elbow, wiggle it, and bring it to the outside of the right leg. And gaze is up. The modified pose is taking that left hand, bringing it to the outside of the leg, taking the right arm up. Okay. Now we're going to come back to center. We're going to lift up out of the pose. Extend up, butterfly the fingertips, gaze up, and maybe even come into a tippy toe stand, stretching the full length of the body. And hands come down by the sides. We're going to start to transition back down to the mat. So soften the knees, arms rise. Exhale, come down into a forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. And before you come back down into a forward fold, I want you to open up the legs. All right? And I want you to just bring your hands down from that half lift down to the ground and come into frog's pose. Now you can stay just like this with your hands on the ground, or you can bring your hands together to a prayer position. Let the resistance of the outside of the elbows connect to the inside of the knees and just press at the same time. Inhaling and exhaling. Gently place the hands back down on the ground and then come out of that pose. We're going to slowly start to lower down, keeping our legs up. We're going to roll back about a quarter way. We're going to kick up our heels if we can. If not, we can keep our toes on the mat and our heels up. And take the hands, press them together. We're going to twist over towards the left side, come back up to center, and twist to the right. Or you can lift up your feet all the way. And last one. And gently place the feet back down, and now roll all the way down to the mat. Allow your hands to sky flip. Relax the body as you prepare for Savasana. If you want to stay just like this, you can, with just bringing your knees together. Otherwise, if it's in your practice, you can extend the legs all the way out for a long, straight body. As you prepare for Savasana, congratulate yourself on a job well done. Allow for a deeper relaxation to ensue, letting your feet, your legs, your thighs, your hips relax more. Allowing for your back and your arms and your elbows and your hands to sink deeper into the floor that supports you. Allowing for your head and your mind and your face and your senses to relax and let go a bit more. And just breathe.